Spartan Transportation and Spartan Logistic Management is your one source for all your shipping needs. 53-foot dry van shipments, auto transport shipments, full-service in-house brokerage, drop-lot facilities, just-in-time deliveries to all auto manufacturers, facilities in St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, and Indianapolis, Indiana. Spartan Logistics, LLC, proud sponsor of the IROC Series, Kyle Steffens UMP Modified and Silver Crown Driver, and Gordy Gundaker, World of Outlaws Late Model. Visit us at spartan-logistics.net or find us on Facebook.
R&R Racewear, your source to all custom racewear apparel needs, and home to iRacing apparel. Check it out today at rnrracewear.com.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets trembling, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land under the fray, and the home of the brave? Because we are the brave. Yes, we are the brave. We'll fight to rename the name of the brave. We are the U.S. of A. For those unaware, that flag is still there. It's our future to save. This land of the brave, the U.S. of A. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free, in the home of the
What's going on, guys and girls? Hey, how are you? Repeat back with you, and it's another Thursday night. 4 more weeks of IROC Season 6 tonight, live from Atlanta Motor Speedway, and we're on the new Speedway, so we're going back Super Speedway Racing and ready to roll. As always, got the one and only KS Gaming 51, the one and only Swats in the booth. Swats, another mile and a half, bad, fast Super Speedway style race. 4 more weeks to go before we crown the Season 6 champ. How you feeling, sir?
What's going on, Pete? What's going on, everybody out there? I am ready to rock and roll here at Atlanta. It's a new Atlanta, so not the typical bottom feeding, bottom line only. Even though we really only have about a half extra lane rather than just the bottom lane of this new super speedway that has turned into a very small Daytona kind of. A lot of draft is going to be the big factors for tonight. Temperatures are going to be pretty good for maybe some slipping and sliding once the tires get a little worn out. You know as well as I do, Pete, the worst spot on this track is pit entrance. That is where these guys are going to have to figure it out. They're going to get slowed down and make it into pit road and not have any mistakes.
Yeah, try to get Woden slowed up. It's going to be a lot of fun. You see Byron Jones right now out there in qualifying and talking about the temperatures. Right now, it's a cool, calm, and collected 78-degree air temp. But look at that track temp, 106 degrees as he continues on for his second lap. Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. And during practice, this guy right here was the fastest on the charts. All kinds of drafting, all kinds of, slingshots, and taking it 3 and 4 wide at times, which did not work. So we'll have to see how he does. In fact, I'll go ahead and bring up your scoring pylon right now.
3 wide doesn't work at Atlanta, Pete? Come on.
Nope, 3 wide does not work.
Even though there's 4 lanes on the track in some areas, especially coming across the front stretch, you might see a couple guys trying to make some big moves on that front stretch. But other than that, we're going to see a lot of 2-wide racing, a lot of single-wide racing, some big moves, maybe some big draft and pull that comes up on cars. A lot of guys are going to have to determine, just at Daytona and Talladega, what to do with that run when they get it. Do they stay in line? Do they try to run it? If they try to run it, you risk the factor of the bottom of the groove. If you go to the outside, you risk that bottom line getting tucked in on each other again and you getting hung out to dry.
Absolutely. Keeping up right now with Brandon Mefford as he shoots up to P number 5. So far, the 33 of Kevin McCann that missed last week. Actually, he's missed the last couple weeks. So far, he is on that provisional pole. Tim Schofield, P2. Stoney Benfield, P number 3. Vincent Short, 4th for all those short fans out there. And Brandon Mefford right now in that 83 will be your top 5. Let's bring it up with the deuce of Cook. I'm sorry, the 23 rather of Cook Quick, not Neil Quick.
Yeah, Pete, with Kevin missing the last couple weeks, Gabriel Ellison has moved into second place into the points. Kevin has dropped to 3rd. Chris Medford has caught up to him as well. So big changes in the top 2 there, or at least in the top 2 to 3 spots. As the number 1 is still Brian McCann after his 4th win. He's got 4 wins on the year. He's got 14 top 5, 14 top 10s. Pete, the man hasn't finished outside top 10, I don't think.
Well, talking about Gabe Ellison, the man just went to the top of the boards right now at 32.19. So just about a 32.2, 2 100ths faster or over Kevin McCann. And that could have just been just a twitch of a wheel, as he's actually going to take advantage of this little qualifying time. Whoa, and slow it up a little bit of locking up the rears, trying to get down to pit road speed. So far, those that have not yet qualified, talking about Chris Wally in the 51, Neil Quick in the deuce, the 46 of Chris Mefford, who's been showing a lot of speed, Ryan Crooks in the 1, good to see him out here. He's also not yet gone out. Josh Funkhauser and Robert Barney. So we got 6 guys yet to take a time.
Yeah, and I'm kind of confused on some of the lap times I'm seeing based on some of the practice lap times. Byron Jones was the fastest in practice, and Pete, he's at the bottom of the board pretty much for the guys who have run a lap of the 11 that have run a lap. He's sitting P10 right now, so I'm not sure if he just had a bad qualifying, which, I mean, he's only, a tenth and a half off of what the leader ran, but that tenth and a half, Pete, they've said before, at least at certain tracks, that could be 300 feet in some areas, so I would say for Atlanta, it's probably a little lower than 300 feet because I don't think Byron made that big of a mistake, but he's going to have to come from the back tonight and it's not easy at a track like this that's been repaved.
Not at all. All right, so let's go ahead and bring up your grid if I can. I might be experiencing a little bit of a technical difficulty. Let me go ahead and refresh the SDK. No, okay, no, it's not time for the grid. It's basically just time for their 10-minute warm up. I was wondering because it wasn't nothing was working for me. All right, so let's see. No, in fact, the tower, the ticker, none of that is working for me. Let me try a couple other little things here. Nope, it's not. 1 second. Apologies again. And I can't close out of SDK because that would shut the stream down. That's unfortunate. All right, let me try this.
You should be able to close SDK.
Yeah, closed SDK, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Kip Cook out there saying, let's go, number 75, Faster Pastor, Stony Benfield. Same thing from Susan Ritchie. Ruth Gardner is looking for the Faster Pastor as well. Barbara Pinion saying pulling for Stony Benfield. And then, of course, Vincent Short out there saying, good luck tonight, fellas. So, yeah, a lot of support out there, but mostly for that 75, the one and only Mr. Pastor.
His church group is strong as always for coming out and rooting on the pastor. He's currently, I think, 4th fastest. So maybe another good start for the pastor here at the next track. Last week was a good start for him. He finished mid-pack at the end of the day, but he had a really good starting position and just wasn't able to bring it home in the top 5. But it's a new track, new pavement. We'll see if Stoney can do it tonight.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I mean, I'd be glad and honored to call that 75 to victory lane when it's all said and done. And at a track like this, or Daytona or Talladega, it's absolutely possible. It's all about putting your chess piece in the right position at the right time. So yeah, he could easily get on up there and knock out a W. It'd be great to see that. I'm sure everybody out there would party.
Oh, I'm sure they'd be singing when we come to church on Sunday. Whenever he comes up, they'll be singing for him. But, I mean, like you said, it's a super speedway track now. The way they've designed Atlanta, Atlanta, where they've backed up the walls, they've changed the banking, they've added the repave, and the repave is a whole lot of what we're talking about, because every time they repave a track, Pete, it completely changes the way they race the track. When they repaved Texas and they kind of changed the configuration a little bit, it did a whole lot of different stuff for the drivers. They're talking about now repaving over on North Wilkesboro, and they're saying that can change everything we saw last week at the All-Star race. It'll change completely with a repave. Yeah, it really will.
I wasn't a big fan of the way that the All-Star race shook out.
Me neither.
Yeah. I mean, the next-gen cars, they have an issue just on short tracks in general. But I really believe that North Wilkesboro is meant for a smaller, lighter car. I mean,
super late modifieds.
Yeah, super late modifieds. Cars like that. I don't really believe that the next-gen car was.
Trucks were okay on it though.
Yeah, but those are also lighter, and they don't have the same short track issue that the next-gen cars have. Ooh.
Well, the next gen has some issues on more than just short tracks.
Yeah, true. Very, very
They got some passing problems on bigger tracks. They got some draft bubble problems. They got all kinds of different issues with these things.
Very, very true. Big view from high atop Atlanta Motor Speedway. We were actually down here, or I was down here several years back with another league called NNR way back in the day on console. And man, the Folds of Honor race is always huge. And I mean, we took up row after row, and we were here for the full weekend. The only thing I did not like about Atlanta Motor Speedway was actually the ride home. The interchanges in and around Atlanta are just ridiculous. Not fun whatsoever.
Yeah, I've been trying to push the wife to go to the aquarium. She thinks I have a weird fetish with aquariums because every time we go somewhere new, I'm like, let's go to the aquarium. But she just does not want to go there because of the traffic, the way that the roads are designed, everything.
You mean a weird fishish bump?
I guess. But I like zoos too, so it's not just aquariums. I just like animals.
There you go.
I like you, Pete. I like Byron. There's several other people. We're all animals.
Yeah. Yeah. What's that song?
Some worse than others.
Ain't nothing but mammal.
I wasn't gonna sing that part.
Do it like they do on the Discovery Channel. Yeah.
We're probably too old for some people on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Byron probably never heard that song.
Probably not. Yeah, showing my age a little bit. Old song. It looks like Ryan Crooks is actually out here on track in his #1 Spartan Silverado. So good to see him here, and he's been hemorrhaging points the last couple races. So he's going to really have to try to have a great race, and maybe even just stay in the back, let everything happen in front of him. But even there, Kurt, you're not 100% safe. You could still have because of the speeds. You could still really get collected. These things don't stop on a dime.
No, and they designed this track specifically for pack racing. I'm not a fan of it. For the trucks and for Xfinity, it's not terrible. For next gen, it's terrible with the way that they're not able to pass people. But the pack racing mentality that NASCAR's kind of gone on to with these 1.5 mile tracks and the super speedways and things like that, where they don't want guys really separating and they don't want single file racing. They don't want guys finishing half a track in front of them, even though Kyle Larson pretty much lapped the entire field at North Wilkesboro. But I don't know. I'm a fan of Talladega. I'm a fan of Daytona. I just don't like the style of racing. But this track, it used to provide some awesome racing. It was strategic. You had to, really watch your tires because of the gritty surface that was on Atlanta. They threw the repave in, and it's so much grip in so many different lanes, except for the top lane because of the way the track is designed with the banking. It's almost like being in a soup bowl. The higher you get up on the bowl, you start getting to the lip of the bowl, and it wants to throw you out of the bowl, which in this case, it throws you into the wall. So you're pretty much running the bottom 2 lanes on this track, even though there seems to be 3 or 4 lanes at certain points around the track.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, coming through the trial, you could see 4 lanes there, 4 dotted lanes, but that is only if the person that you are closest to, as the 3 makes a huge save. Great save by the 3 of Brian McCann coming through that trial. And he's going to be able to keep it going straight. 23 is going to go ahead and pick him up. That's going to be cooked quick. Right now, Ryan Crooks in that 1 just went to the top of the boards. And I'm having some issues with the broadcast software. I actually tried pulling up different files for the race. I'm not quite sure if there's actually something going on with SDK, but the only thing I can do right now is navigate through the cameras. I tried switching it over to like a shake and bake file, as well as a bump and run file and a couple others, and I'm not getting anything to pop up. So again, very, very unfortunate. Hopefully I'll continue to try to reset it, and hopefully I can get the scoring pylon and all that I had up a little bit ago. It was working, and then I tried to reset it to reset how the names were loading, and all of a sudden it just it's not coming up. So I think SDK might be having a little bit of a problem. Stoney Benfield says, thank you guys for joining us tonight. Absolutely. And Vincent Short says, I'm a big fan of the Faster Pastor too. So there you go. He's got a lot of fans out here.
Yeah, well, one driver that's really creating a fan is Ryan Crooks for me. Not that I wasn't a fan of his prior to doing this series with UP, but I mean, I watched some of his races in Shake and Bake when you would broadcast those. I broadcasted a race in Shake and Bake with Frozen one night.
Yep.
For the Indy series, I think.
Yep.
But Tuesday nights, I'm being amazed by the way that he drives and the way that he controls himself on the track. He's on a 2-race win streak right now in Velocity on Tuesday. He's got 4 wins this season. He's got 2 wins this season in this series here. But every time I see him on track, I don't know if it's just he's got me mesmerized or got me under some sort of spell, but I just really enjoy watching him, and then the way he controls himself in his interviews and things like that. Same with Brian McCann, Kevin McCann, Byron's. I mean, obviously I've been a fan of Byron's racing against him and things like that. Maybe not when he was a little a little younger and on that single laptop when he wrecked me a lot. But since then, I've definitely become a big fan of Byron, watching him grow and get better and better. And then there's several drivers throughout this series alone that I'm becoming fan of.
There you go. All right, so looks like qualifying is what was done a while back. Let's see if we can go ahead and pull up the grid. And no, it does not look like it's going to work for me. So I'll tell you that the 27 of Gabe Ellison will be starting on pole, with Kevin McCann 2 is outside in that 33. Row 2 is going to be Tim Schofield with Stoney Benfield in that 75. So the faster pastor starting on the high side, which is not a bad thing at all. The 15 of Vince Short's going to start P5 in that number 15, and round out row number 3 is going to be Brandon Mefford in P number 6. P7 is going to be Brian McCann, last season's champ, and so far has got a pretty good stranglehold on season 6 as well. We'll be talking about season 7 here very, very soon. P8 is going to be the 5 of Dylan Dellinger, with David Trumley starting 9th, and to round out the top 10 is going to be Byron Jones in that number 19 Spartan machine. P11 in the 23 is going to be Cook Quick with Ryan Crooks. 2 is outside in that single-digit number 1 Spartan machine. The Deuce and Neil Quick, he's going to start P13 with Robert Barney. 2 is outside to round out row number 7. Row 8 is going to be Chris Mefford starting 15th in that 46. Going to be interesting to watch him charge his way through the field with Joshua Funkhauser and Chris Awali to round out this 17 truck field. This is going to be one hell of a race, Kurt. This 27 kind of came from nowhere, took the pole by force. Kevin McCann, he's going to start on the outside, but how about Vince Short in Stoney Benfield to round out the top 4, top 5? I think this is probably the best starting position that 75 has had so far this season, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the last race we had done, he had started, I think, P5 or P6. So he's getting a little better at his qualifying each week. And he's running up front. And the more experience you have towards the front, the better you are, in my opinion, because if you're used to running towards the back in a lot of leagues, you don't get the experience of being up here. And some guys, when they get up here, they get nervous because they're not used to being up here. So the more experience, the better. And he's definitely throwing in some experience, especially the last several weeks.
Absolutely. Coming through turns 3 and 4, keeping an eye on that 75. But let's get on up with our leader. Pace car is going to go ahead and pull off. Barney's got the field in view. Green flag's up. Green flag's out. We're racing.
And Pete, Gabe Ellison has been very fast pretty much all season. He just doesn't have the finish with having a win. Because Brian McCann and Kevin McCann and Ryan Crooks have been pretty much strangleholding the whole league with wins. But I feel like he's on the verge of that win. And tonight, starting on the pole, I think is a really good thing for him. Kevin McCann missing the last several weeks, having a good start tonight on the outside of the starting first row. But you could see going through the corners, there are going to be some massive runs coming from all over the place. And like I said, if these guys are not ready to do something with it, they're either going to lose momentum and get past, or they're going to get shuffled out of the bottom line. It's chaotic, the whole race now, that the way that this thing is set up.
Well, I'll tell you what, Kevin McCann just rocketed to the front, took it down on the apron coming through the tri-oval. While the 27 went high, he was able to lead that lap, so give the 27 a point. Now on the outside of the 15 of Vincent Short. Tim Schofield right now, P2, Vincent Short, P3, Gabe Ellison and Brian McCann going to round out the top 5. Again, I apologize. I'll keep continuing to, I'll keep resetting the broadcast software. Hopefully I can get that up and running for you. But so far, a little bit of differing strategies, Kurt. There's some guys choosing to stay up front, some guys choosing to go to the back. They don't want to see the big one. 3 wide through the corner.
3 wide's not going to work very long. It might work right now on the fresh tires, but I don't think I would want to be 3 wide very often or for very long. There's definitely some movement from guys in the back that are coming forward, which we've seen happen on a lot of different tracks, Pete, where a lot of guys start the race and they just go full tilt. They want to gain as many positions as possible and then try to hang on to them as the tires wear off. And then you see a lot of guys with fresh tires they start rolling to the back and try to conserve tire and then have those tires on a late run. This new surface, though, Pete, it kind of throws that for a 50-50 on whether or not it works either way.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, it's a very, very smooth track. There's still some bumps in here as we ride along with the 75, looking underneath the 19 of Byron Jones and right behind the deuce of Quick. Seems like the bottom line right now is prevailing. But when you think about Daytona and Talladega, Kurt, you think about the high side and how much that comes in a little bit later on. Right now, the guys on the bottom are having to turn the wheel just a little bit more and will eventually scrub off just a little bit of speed, and that high side will come into play. So far, a little bit of movement on the bottom, making the 19 and the 96 a little jittery, but they're moving their way through the field.
Yeah, a lot of the guys in the second row, they're driving it, I mean, not terrible or nothing, but the way I would drive this track is kind of like we see, if anybody out there has ever seen an iRacing Super Speedway broadcast where the guys kind of angle, you and I, Pete, would know this, but when you angle in and it kind of shoots you down the track a little bit from the top side and you get like a run down the banking, if you're on the top side, I would be running as close to the wall before you enter the turn and then curve it down to the middle lane to try to get a little bit of an extra run through that corner, because guys on the bottom are running the bottom line. They're pretty much putting their tires on the line on the paint, and they're staying there.
Yeah, and they're trying to stay there, but occasionally they kind of bobble up just a little bit. Looking back from the 33 of Kevin McCann right now, as you see him go so low, he actually even touches the grass at the exit of the tri-oval. Looking back at the 17 truck field, you see most of everybody in this main pack, and then you see a pack of 3 a little bit further back. Kurt, how far back would you say you can actually go here at Atlanta with this racing type before you actually lose the draft?
It's so hard to tell with this one because of, like I said, it's a pack racing. It's a super speedway, miniature super speedway. Right now, Ryan Crooks, Neil Quick, Robert Barney, they're hanging back about a second and a half from the leader. But a second and a half is really not that much on most tracks. On this one, they might be at risk of losing the draft, but I don't think they care. I think they're kind of just waiting to see what happens, because one incident on this track can, if it's towards the front, it'll block the whole track because it's not as wide as you think it is in the corners.
No, it's really not that wide at all. I tell you, these guys are having to practice great track awareness on this race. You see, the 33, the 12, and others really dip down low coming through the tri-oval all the way down on the apron. Like I mentioned just a little bit ago, excuse me, the 33 actually nipped the grass just a little bit, kicking it up. And Byron, while he's giving him room, he's also got to pay attention and know that, or trust, as we just watched, I believe that was the 5 going up and tag the wall just a little bit, able to keep it going. Might have taken a little bit of momentum. I'm sure he probably has a little bit of damage to the right rear, but so far, so good.
And that's part of what I was talking about. He had a massive run coming on the 96 and the 19, and instead of letting off a little bit and just riding where he was at, he tried to go to the outside, and where he went to the outside is where the banking really starts in the corners, and it just shot him up towards the wall, and he clipped it. Doesn't look like it caused that much damage to him. It might have, dented a fender or scraped it a little bit, but doesn't look like it hurt him that much, other than losing the momentum. But the way the guys are dipping down in the front stretch, Pete, I'm kind of surprised they're still doing that. That was something we did on the old Atlanta surface to cut the track. And now with all the banking that's around the place, I'm surprised they're still doing it. Byron made up a ton of positions on the outside row, and he didn't have to dip down the apron like the inside line does.
No, he doesn't, and that's really just the high side absolutely working for Byron in that 19. I talked to him just before the race kicked off, and he said, hopefully I'll be able to work with Ryan Crooks again. Byron Jones, he's with the Patriot Esports team. Originally the one of Ryan Crooks, he started with EMGG, but EMGG has since kind of moved on away from iRacing. So both of those guys kind of team without a team, I guess you could say. They're all by themselves. in their individual channel, but yet they continue to find each other out there on track. So we'll see if the 1 and the 19 are able to hook up again, as the 19 takes just a little bit of a shot from the 96, getting him a little squirrely. Byron wants to get up there and lead a lap after some hard luck last week. He lost a ton of points. He needs all the points that he can get this week.
Yeah, and Ryan and Byron, it's comfortability, P. I mean, they're used to running each other. They've worked with each other on super speedways, and obviously we're at another type super speedway tonight, and those two have worked really well at Daytona and Talladega, so why not work together tonight, even though they're not technically teammates, but they like to work together, especially on these super speedway tracks, and they seem to really work really well together.
Yeah, they really do. I mean, but Byron's going to have to wait a while before he even sees Ryan Crooks.
You might want to tell Ryan to kick it up.
Yeah, in his rear view. We'll go ahead and pick up Ryan right now. Ryan's all the way back here in P15, down 3 spots from where he qualified, and I'm about positive that this is all by design, as him and the 2 are back here. And sorry for the little bit of internet instability. We'll get this back up and going as quickly as we possibly can. Definitely seeing a lot of frames lost right now, but as soon as it all comes back, we will pick right back up where we were. Kurt, what do you think so far? Caution free as the stream comes back up. Kurt, did I lose you?
Oh, nope, I muted myself. I was sitting here thinking, I was watching Dylan Dellinger. He actually parked it after touching the wall. So I guess maybe he thought he had a little more damage than I guess we thought, or maybe he just didn't want to continue running. But he pulled down pit road and parked it on pit road and left the channel. So, yeah, kind of surprising to see him quit out that fast, but he disconnected already. But the rest of the field, yeah, I mean, pretty smooth, pretty clean running. A lot of guys moving around, trying to gain positions. Byron's working this high side with the 96 of David Trumbley and the 27 of Gabriel Ellison, and the 81 has joined them up on the top side as well, with Stoney Benfield moving up the top side. So they've got 5 on the top side. There's only 3 on the bottom side, or 4 on the bottom side, back to a gap to the back pack. So that top line should start really prevailing and pushing those guys up past the 33. 33's got to work the bottom and try to side draft as much as possible to hold back the 19.
Yeah, 19 was able to lead the last lap with a push from the 96. He's also got our pole sitter in the 27 of Gabe Ellison up on that high side. I was watching the 33 last time off the corner. He's getting very, very tail happy. So something tells me that that 33 is starting to transition to a little bit of the loose side, as now the 19, he's going to go ahead and lead by himself. But if I'm him, I'm going to go right back high again and stay up there where my truck has been working the best, with the 96 right behind. 96, I thought maybe he's thinking about going 3 wide. They were 3 wide behind him for just a moment, though.
Yeah, and I would stay in that middle lane. I would not really venture to the bottom. The bottom lane, to me, is a short run gain factor. If you have a short run of, maybe 10 laps, maybe a little bit more, you could hold the top line off. But as we've seen with Byron, now that we're 21 laps into this race, Pete, he's gone to the lead. The looser these cars or these trucks get, the worse it is to be on the bottom, because it's harder to hold that line. And I think a lot of that, Pete, also is they're having to turn the wheel a little bit more, but they're also cranking that wheel to go down to the apron and use the apron. And Byron has not had to do that the entire race because he's been working on the outside line. So he might have a little better tires than, say, McCann or the other guys that have been running that bottom line since we've dropped the green flag.
Absolutely, Ryan riding along right now with Byron and his door cam. You see how close he's getting to that red line, all the way down the backstretch, getting into turns 3 and 4. You barely see that red line when he's as close to that line as possible. But watch this, dipping all the way down on the apron, almost all the way to the grass. Going to come back up just a little bit, and that is a lap around with Byron, trying to really wrap that bottom line so nobody else is able to get underneath him.
I know he's using the apron right now to keep Kevin behind him, because if he doesn't use it, Kevin's going to use it and try to go around him. But I personally wouldn't be using it. I would be riding somewhere in the middle of the first and second lane to make sure somebody can't get underneath me, but can't go to the outside of me unless they want to try that third lane. Kevin jumped to the high side and actually started to make some runs on Byron, but now the 15 and 23 have gotten to Byron's back bumper, and they're pushing him way up. The 23 gets really loose going into turn 1, Pete, gets down on the apron.
Yep, and came back up, and it looks like it's just going to be him. No real issues with the 23. A quick way in the back. Looking at him now, everybody else was able to avoid him. Let's actually go ahead and see if it'll let me. Okay, it will let me replay or rewind that to go ahead and let you see how exactly that worked out. Let's kind of ride along. You see him right behind the 15. And the 19 of Byron Jones. So you see him get squirrely, see him try to save it, try to keep it off the track so he didn't wash back up, loses complete control, and look at everybody go around him. The seas absolutely parted all the way around.
Ooh, Pete, while you were doing that, we just had 3 wide racing for the lead. Byron getting shuffled to the middle lane. He's in the sucker hole right now. Vincent Short going down to the bottom and trying to pass him. We're still 3 wide for second place between the 15, 19, and 27. It's getting really squirrely up here, P. I don't know if we're getting close to the midway or the manual caution, but they're definitely going for it right now, and it's getting a little dangerous.
Yeah, down the backstretch, 19 of Byron Jones. He's got the 15 to his inside. He's got the 27 of Gabe Ellison outside. Everybody trying to chase that 33. Still 3 wide through the tri-oval. This is dicey. 15 trying to give as much room as he can, going all the way down. And now the 96 is to the inside. They're going to be able to go back double wide with Gabe Ellison right behind the 19. 15 behind the 33 as McCann goes back to the front.
Yeah, and that was really sketchy. There was paper thin between those 2 trucks. If we had that horrible stuff that always happens between the 2 vehicles when they get too close, it would have been really bad there. But somehow iRacing doesn't really put a lot of it on the trucks. It seems to be in a lot of other series where we get that netcode problem. But that was super close. I'm surprised they didn't make any contact at all, being 3 wide like that in several different areas of this track. But the 19 moves back to the high side. Now he's got the 27 behind him. 33 comes up to block the run from the high line. And the bottom line is still Vincent Short in the 96. 96 was on the high line pushing Byron for a while, and then he got pushed into the sucker hole and went to the back of the pack and has worked his way back up to the front.
Absolutely. Kevin McCann, Byron Jones again, going to go take it back double wide. 15 thought about maybe taking it 3 wide for just a moment. Gabe Ellison now with Byron. 75, Stoney Benfield working his way back up inside the top 5. Little bit of internet instability again. Definitely apologize. We'll try to get back up as it looked like Stoney might have been trying to mount just a little bit of a charge. So we'll try to get this back up and back going as quickly as we can. Kurt, what are we looking for? What are we looking at as far as laps go, sir?
I mean, we're 30 laps into the run. Fuel, tires, I mean, we should be getting close to probably a pit stop here in the next, I would say 10, 15 laps for sure. But like I said, the way that the guys have been driving, especially Kevin McCann and some of the guys who were running the bottom line earlier, their tires have to be a little more worn than, say, the guys who were riding the outside line for so long before they really got by that inside line. But you can see Kevin doing everything he can to block that high line from coming back to him, because right now the bottom line is just falling apart. Stoney's going to go down to the bottom and try to help the 96 and 15. But I think that the middle to top line is where people need to be at right now in this run.
That big move by Byron as he goes ahead and throws it underneath the 33. The 15, he's going to go ahead and get loose right behind. We got a wreck.
All right, man. Caution is out. Caution is out.
96
15 comes out of that pretty much unscathed.
Yeah, the 96, I believe this is, of David Trumbley. He made hard contact with the wall. Let's go ahead and rewind this in real time. Not quite sure if I've got full capability with the tools, so we're going to go ahead and stop that. Let's go ahead and bring it on back to our chase cam, and we'll go ahead and play it out with the 96. Yeah, it just looks like the 15 gets loose turning in, comes back up, makes contact with the 96. 96 makes some net code contact with the truck that was to his outside. Everybody else able to miss him because they were just a little bit further back. All right, let's go ahead and bring it back live.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a case of somebody getting loose in front of them, and the other two having a big run in that middle and top line, had nowhere to go, really. The 15 tried to save it. He pretty much did. He, like I said, came out of that pretty much unscathed. He just made a little contact with the 96, which shot him up into Joshua Funkhauser on the outside. I think the 12 might have had some damage from the 96 spinning around there, but the rest of the guys towards the back, Pete, did not have any problems there. They pretty much all came through there without having any incidents or contacts.
Looks like Byron Jones, he's going to be able to go ahead and lead them off of pit road. Let's see if we can actually pull the young buck on up to the booth right quick. Let's see here. Byron Jones, it is repeat and swats up in the booth, bud. Well, bud, you it was some pretty hairy driving for a little while there, but you were able to lead a few laps. You needed to gain some points after some issues last week. Now you're directly behind the pace car. We're 30 plus laps in. Walk us through that run and the transition in the truck from comfortable to loose to what you were feeling just before that caution came out, sir.
Yeah, this truck it's felt great so far. It's felt good on rails, especially you've seen already. I've been able to side draft guys, pull up next to them. I think that's a huge key for me tonight. But this truck has felt super loose at certain times, especially once you hit the shade in 1 and 2. But 3 and 4, this truck feels phenomenal. So I just got dialed in, see what I can do in 1 and 2 differently, see if we can't keep this thing a rocket ship.
Kurt?
Yeah, Byron, my suggestion is for you to stay towards the top side. That bottom line does not look like it really works unless it's a short run for any kind of advantage. But that top line seems to be where everybody's making us be, especially you. You came from a long way back there, +9 right now in this race. So congratulations on that, and keep the work up. And I'm hoping we can talk to you in the night.
Yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, I hope so too. Last week was a bust, but hopefully tonight's not.
All right, buddy, keep the shiny side up. That 19 Spartan machine looks good as always. I see you're all racked and stacked back up, but they actually just put the lights back on the caution car, so we're not going to be going back green. You're going to restart with Kevin McCann to your outside, Gabe Ellison in your rear view, Stoney Benfield sitting P4 right now, and Brandon Mefford. In pre-race, I was talking a little bit. You said that you wanted to try to hook up with Ryan Crooks. Right now, he's back in P11. If Crooks can't be in your rear view, who do you want pushing you in the initial start of this next run?
Oh man, that's an excellent question. I don't know. I think Ellison has been really good, so I don't mind having Ellison behind me. He's gonna be that guy that can keep me up there, keep me going. But, man, it's just tough. Kevin, he's aggressive. I'm aggressive, so we both know how this is going to play out. We've just been back and forward so far this race. So even working with him, too, wouldn't be a bad thought.
All right, buddy. Again, good luck, and maybe we'll be talking to you again a little bit later on for a podium. You know I'm forever a fan.
Thank you, guys.
You got it. All right, so we got him back on down. Kurt, what do you think? Anything that he said surprised you?
No, I actually think he provided the correct answer with the 27. I think the 27's been an amazing pusher so far. He's been doing a great job of pushing multiple people. He's had the fastest car because he got the pole. So I think if you're going to have the fastest guy in, 1-lap situations or 2-lap situations for qualifying behind you, I think that guy could really push you. And Gabe seems to always really be a great pusher to have behind you.
Yeah, Gabe Ellison in that 27, he's been very, very fast. All season long. And like you said, as of late, been really able to rack up some points. And he's making a big push. Now, after tonight, there's only 3 races left. I believe we go to the Roval next week for 40-plus laps. Then we're going to go on to Kentucky. And then we're going to declare a champion for season number 6. At Michigan International Raceway in just 3 more very short weeks. Lights top the pace car are out. We're going to go ahead and bring it on back to Barney. He's got the yellow flag up. Kurt, this green is on you. Pace cars coming through and off of 4 will be making that left turn towards Albuquerque in just a moment. It's all you, sir.
Yeah, pace cars down pit road, and we're going to have another restart here with Byron Jones being the leader with Kevin McCann to his outside. McCann brothers stacked up on the outside. Byron's got to get a good jump here in the restart zone, and does as he goes across the start-finish line with the green flag waving. We'll go into turn 1, 2 wide for second place.
Yeah, 2 wide for P2, 27, helping Byron Jones in that 19. On the bottom, 33 is all about the brothers. The 33 of Kevin McCann, Brian McCann right in his back pocket. These two have worked phenomenally well, no matter what kind of track it is, whether it's a super speedway-esque kind of a track like the new Atlanta, or if we're talking about Daytona, or if we're talking about Talladega, or if we're talking about Auto Club or anywhere else. These brothers really seem to help themselves, help each other quite a bit, but at the same time, they'll also battle each other pretty hard as well.
Yeah, right now, Byron needs to be looking in that mirror, because when he sees the outside line getting stacked up like it is with 4 drivers, he needs to try to get to that outside line as well. The bottom line is going to dwindle with guys moving up to that high side. Now they've got, I think, 6 trucks deep on the outside, which definitely helps the outside line prevail. Byron's struggling a little bit with that outside line. He's holding due with those fresh tires, everybody being on fresh tires, but that he saw it earlier. The outside line came in and definitely prevailed him to the lead. So he's got to work and try to get to the high side as quickly as possible. Whether or not that means, tucking in behind the 3, if the 33 and 3 can get by them, but he's got to find a gap to get to the outside if he can't get in front of the 33.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised. I didn't think about something earlier as seeing a little bit more instability in the internet. Definitely apologize for that. But something I didn't think about earlier, Kurt, was the choose rule here in iRacing or in the IROC Challenge Series as a whole. Whether he could actually have taken the outside if he wanted it or not. But it looks like the 27 of Gabe Ellison is going to be able to push that 19 on up. And I'm going to guess the little bit of damage that we just saw on that 19 was just from the instability in the net. But we're looking pretty good right now.
Yeah, I mean, they've got 3 trucks on the bottom line. The top line has 3 pretty good drivers in a line. And then there's a little bit of a gap back to the next set of cars. So they're basically 3 on 3. But Ellison has been glued to the back bumper of the 19. The 3 has been glued to the back bumper of the 33. The shorter way around the track is the bottom. Top side's carrying a little bit more momentum. And like I said to Byron before when we were talking to him there, the short run seems to be better on the bottom. But as soon as you see those guys getting stacked up, you got to get to the top. Right now is when I would probably move and get up in front of the 33 and force that 33 to push me before the 33 gets lined up on his door.
Yeah, I don't know, because if you think about what I was just mentioning a little bit ago, 33 and the 3, they're going to work together. You see the 75, Stoney Benfield, a little bit further in the back. The 1927, he wanted to see the 27 in his rear view. He felt pretty comfortable with the way that he was racing with him. He said with him, not necessarily against him. He feels like he's been pretty good for his momentum and his track position. So we'll have to see if these two continue to work together. The McCann's obviously staying up high. So now Byron is pretty much cross from where he was earlier. Before he was on the high side. So he was able to, open up the wheel just a little bit more, not scrub so much tire. Now he's on the bottom. He's having to make those hard left-hand turns. He's having to, keep that 19 pinched down on the line. Can't wash up at all, not knowing exactly, how much of a truck width he's got between himself and the 33, so he's having to put a little bit more wheel in, and that is exactly why the tires last longer on the high side.
Yeah, but something Byron and Ellison are not doing is they're not going down to the apron as much as Kevin McCann and the rest of those guys were doing. They're barely touching the apron on the front stretch, unlike those guys were doing prior on the bottom line. So he's conserving a little bit of tire there, because I think that's where Kevin was losing a lot of tire, was hard cranking it off of turn 4 to go down to that bottom line like that. It's a very sharp angled corner when you get to this front stretch. It's not, an easy turn in situation. It's a hard whip in that front stretch, little straightaway or whatever you want to call that. It's not a full straightaway. It's not an angled straightaway. It's like a hard left turn, then straight, then hard left into the corner.
Yeah, it really is. And if in the Cup cars, if I'm not mistaken, that can also, when you're when you're having to jerk on the wheel to get it to make that left turn, you can also get really, really loose there as well. So far, these guys have been doing a phenomenal job.
Yeah, he's holding a really pretty wheel down there on the bottom. He's not really moving off of it. He's holding the line. He's not really floating up the track. He's not going down below the line to go use that extra part of the apron, which is really, it might be locking them up in this too wide racing that we're seeing for the front 3 rows. But he's conserving tire. He's not giving up anything. He's not, gaining anything, but he's just kind of steady staying right there in the lead, and that's what he wants. He doesn't want to, break away, because then everybody can get lined up on him and make choices that he can't defend with big runs. So I would stay right where he's at for now, but like I said, once we get deeper into the run, now we're 14 laps on the run, this is when Byron on the outside line really started to prevail, and they came by Kevin earlier. So I'll be looking to see if Kevin can do the same thing. It looks like he's got a big run on the outside right now, being shoved by that 3.
Yeah, 30. That 3 and that 3 and 33 continuing, to keep their machines up in the front. Kevin McCann still leading the point. Brian McCann right now P number 2. Byron Jones, him and the 3 keep fighting back and forth for that spot. You see the 27 on the bottom side, the 23 and the 75. They're also still up here. How about Stoney Benfield right now sitting in P number 6 and doing one hell of a job keeping it wound up on the high side? He could be there to, I don't want to say play spoiler, but think about who this guy has on his side as a pastor. Who, come on. How can you vote against him?
You can't vote against him. I think he's got a shot, though. He's hanging in here. I mean, if we look at some of the Atlanta races in real life, Corey LaJoie, he says this is one of his favorite tracks because he feels like he has the best shot at this style of racing, which is super speedway racing. I think he's finished, P2 and P4 the last 2 years since Atlanta's been repaved. Corey LaJoie, who typically is a mid-pack to backpack driver at the end of the day, which is unfortunate because he doesn't have the same money being thrown into a team or the same parts ability to engineer everything like everybody else has. He designs most of the stuff his own self. He works on his own car. He put his own seat mold in his own car in the next gen car. So it's kind of that scenario. And I think Stoney has a full chance. Everybody has a shot.
See, we saw the 2 pull out of line and drop on back. Looks like Cook Quick in the 23 now doing the same exact thing. So Neil Quick and Cook Quick somewhat nose to tails. 23 continues to drop back, losing the draft. 83 of Brandon Mefford around the outside of him, but they'll be able to line back up, and 2 or 3 trucks can catch back up if they can get nose to tail, especially when the front, a little bit of issue up here. 46 was looking just a little loose for a moment, but able to hold on to it. It has the 15 of Vince Short right in front of him. Byron Jones back to the lead.
Yeah, Byron Jones might start having a smile soon if he keeps looking in the rearview mirror, because there's a pink truck that is coming from the back, and he is coming fast up to this group. He has caught the back of Brian McCann. Ryan Crooks is now diving down to the bottom to get behind Stoney Benfield, who's behind the 27, and they're stacking up on the bottom to try to go towards the front. We could see Stoney Benfield maybe lead a lap here shortly if these bottom guys can get together, and Ryan Crooks seems to be on a whole nother level right here. I don't know if he's sitting back conserving tire or what he was doing, but he seems to have a rocket ship right now.
Yeah, Ryan Crooks sitting 3rd in line in that magenta and black Spartan machine. Yeah, he's moving his way on up through the field. We'll have to see if that all works out. James Boger out there in the land of YouTube says go Stoney. Same thing with Missy Benfield, says go 75. Stoney Benfield says, let's do it together. Vince, talking about Vince Short in the comment that he put out there in chat a little bit ago, saying, let's do it together.
Must live in a very small town.
Hey, who knows? Who knows?
I feel like he's in one of those small towns where everybody in town's watching this race right now, which is awesome to see. It's awesome to hear and see the following that comes out and goes for a driver. It's it's something we Well, I think we talked about this last week. I would love to have the following that Stoney has, where he has a lot of people who believe in him and enjoy watching him race.
Absolutely. Stoney Benfield right now in sixth, and he's continuing to work his way in and around traffic, deciding which line he wants to get in and out of. So as soon as this internet instability quits, we'll be able to bring you the all of the action again. Just a little bit of a surge right now for some reason, but we are coming back now. You see Stoney up high, 3 right in front of him, 23 down low, and there's the 46 as well. So he's not in bad company, but right now going the wrong direction back in P8.
The town he lives in is Albemarle, North Carolina, which is a town of about 15,000 people. So not quite the large towns we see here around us, but I would say it's probably about the same as what I live in, or maybe, I don't know, what's in your town? Are you upwards of 20,000?
Not even close. There's about 20. Yeah.
And we're all from small towns here.
Yeah. No, you down there south of Raleigh. Albemarle it's on the outskirts of Charlotte. It's one of the outer areas for the greater Charlotte area. You've got Monroe. You've got Iredell. You've got what's that? Metrolina. Yeah. There's
Concord.
Yeah, there you go.
Annapolis.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Concord. Sorry, North Carolina.
Concord. It's funny you say that. Years ago, when I worked for a different telecommunications company, I mispronounced Concord, and I pronounced it as Concord, as if I still lived up north. And boy, I got an earful from a southern lady. It says, "Young man," and like, oh, I knew I was in for it right then and there. And she said, that is not how you pronounce it." And yeah, she made sure I realized it. How about the 27 though of Gabe Ellison? He's gonna go ahead and rock it to the front. Look who's fighting on the inside. It is the one of Ryan Crooks. Yep. He's just slowly but surely and methodically working his way to the front. Again, I definitely apologize for this internet instability. I promise you I am working on it. It has just not been going my way whatsoever, but I am trying, I promise you. Oh, Barney.
I'm going to age just a little bit here. I'm going to reference a movie, Pete. It's Over the Top.
Yeah,
Sylvester Stallone must be in that truck for Ryan Crooks, because it seems like he must switch his hat around and say, you know what, I'm going to the front. It's like he can make that decision of when he wants to go to the front. Most of us, we try to go to the front. Ryan sits back here in the back majority of this race and says, I'm tired of running the back. I want to go to the front. And within a handful of laps, here he is running for up front to try to go for the lead. That's why I said I'm becoming more and more of a fan of Ryan just by watching him so much throughout the week, since I technically watch him like 3 times a week. So it's amazing to watch certain guys that can do that type of thing, because I can't do it. So it amazes me when guys can do it. You hear it in NASCAR. Dale Sr., it seemed like, he would flip a switch and he would just go do what he wanted to do, which was go to the front. And it's awesome to see.
Yeah, or you could go a different excuse me.
Kevin McCann must have had a problem there.
A completely different way, and you could say he's got a set of matched special or match perfect and staggered special tires. Take it back to the old days of Thunder. But the one he's going to go to the high side, 16 of Robert Barney now down below, 27 of Gabe Ellison back on the high side. Byron Jones holding on to P4, and he's got the 16 right behind him. That's going to be Robert Barney, who just a lap or two ago was leading the way. Again, I apologize for the internet losing frames. Yeah, a little bit.
I think it's racing.
Yep, I get you.
Whew, 3 wide up front, Pete. That's it's getting hairy up here. We're 62 laps in. We're coming up on halfway here. I think so far we've seen what we expected to be out of Atlanta. It's 2-3 wide racing, a lot of runs, a lot of passing back and forth, guys swapping positions. It seems like consistently, because nobody can break away from each other, because again, this track is designed for pack racing, and look at the pack we have that I mean, Ryan went from the back to the front. Kevin McCann was in the front up here battling for the lead or leading the race, and now he's mid-pack. And we could see him right back up here in just a few laps because of the way the track's designed.
Yeah, we absolutely could see him up there.
And look who Byron has pushing him.
Yep, there you go. So again, Byron and Ryan Crooks able to get right back nose to tail. Byron wanted to work with him. Well, he got his wish as right now they run first and second. Gabe Ellison third, Cook Quick fourth, and Robert Barney inside the top 5. Stoney Benfield right back in P number 6. Vincent Short, Kevin McCann, Chris Mefford, and Brian McCann to round out your top 10. Neil Quick, Brandon Mefford, David Trumbley, Joshua Funkhauser, Chris Wally, Tim Schofield, and Dylan Dellinger were the 17 truck field that hit that ignition switch when it all started this evening.
Yeah, Pete, I don't know if you've done a ride along in Byron's truck in the cockpit, but you can see the sun and shade in certain spots. That sun coming into turn 1 is pretty bright. And then coming into turn 1, as soon as you get underneath the walls or the signs there's a lot of shade coming into the track. We've lost 10 degrees in track temp already. The timing we've gone about an hour of track time in iRacing. So sun is starting to come down a little bit. We're only halfway. Could we see the lights come on, Pete?
I don't think we'll see the lights on. You said that we're about halfway, so as they come through the trial, well, underneath the start stripe looks like the 96, I believe that was, getting out of the way as Byron Jones comes flashing on by on the high side. And I definitely see what you're talking about. All the shade through turns 1 and 2, but only 1 and 2. 3 and 4 and all the way down the backstretch, still very much in the sun. I don't have the ability, at least I don't think I do. Nope, I don't, to actually pull up what the sim time is. That might give us a little bit better of an idea.
5:53.
5:50? Yeah, it could be. Will we see the transition?
I think we might.
We might see the transition.
Close. We started at about 4:30ish, so I guess we've gone about an hour and 20 minutes of track time.
Well, we'll definitely have to see.
But that also could be a factor. Even if the lights don't come on, Pete, the sun can play a factor in this, because the lower it gets in one of those corners there, I think it's turn 1, it really shines in the driver's eyes as they're coming to the start-finish line. And some drivers, it could affect their entry. It could affect, not being able to see what's around them, things like that, because it's, like real life, where that windshield is definitely hard to look through when that sun is shining right at it.
Absolutely. Got another battle for the lead. The one of Ryan Crooks. He decided to go ahead and take the dive on down. 16 right there, right behind him. Give the one of Ryan a little bit of a shot. He's going to slide up track. Byron Jones going to go ahead and try the crossover coming off of turn number 4 to the line. It's going to be the 19.
Yeah, the 19 just said, no. You're not leading this race. I want you to push me.
So this battle has been pretty fierce for quite a while. 75 of Stoney Benfield right now sitting P number 4. So that means that there is a lap truck in the mix. I think it's going to be the 96 that's showing to be just a little squirrely on the bottom behind the truck in the lead now. And we're talking about the 16 again of Robert Barney, 3 wide for P number 5.
Yeah, Neil Quick, another driver, Pete. I just looked back there a few laps ago, and he was at the tail end of the field. He was not at the front. He was back here where Kevin McCann is, which Kevin McCann's back in 12th. And all of a sudden, here's Neil Quick battling up for P4. That 96 is, I think, 14 laps down, Pete. So kind of just hanging in up here. But he's got a lot of damage to the rear spoiler on the left side of the truck. You can have damage or that flare on the right side of the truck, but having it on the left side hurts.
3 wide for the lead, and the 16 very wisely, I think it might have cracked the throttle right there, and that allowed Neil Quick to rocket to the front. A little bit more of instability. Definitely apologize again. Hopefully we can get this back going. Here we go, really quick. Speaking of quick, it's still the 2 of Neil in the lead. Oh boy, Kurt, this is no fun with when it's acting up like this. And again, everybody that's out there watching, whether it's on Facebook, Twitch, or Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or IROC TV, through your favorite Roku device, whether it's a Roku TV or a Roku streaming brick, I definitely appreciate it. As the one went on up, tagged that outside wall just a little bit. That's going to allow the 96, the 75, and the 23 to come on by. For just a moment, they were still side by side. It looked like they had just taken the green just a moment ago, sir.
Yeah, it was getting pretty hairy up here. I wasn't sure which way we were going to go with this, if there was going to be a caution soon, but Ryan brushed the wall. Not too bad. Doesn't look like he has very much damage at all. I can't really see anything on the side of his truck. Doesn't look to have any kind of scrapage, but definitely got out of the gas. We've seen him go to the back, to the front, to the back, to the front, so I don't think he'll be sitting here very long. It's the way that the track is designed, like I keep saying. You can run from the front, you can run to the back, and then be in the front within a handful of laps. So Neil Quick looks really quick on coming up here, and Byron was able to kind of muscle his way back to the front.
Absolutely, and looking towards the right front and the right rear for the one of Ryan Crooks. No damage whatsoever. Now from his roof cam, as he's lining up right behind the 5 of Medford. The 46 rather of Medford. Going to take it all the way down on the apron, try to pick up that spot. In fact, he's going to pull back side by side with that 46. The 3 of McCann right behind him. The 16 still up there. And we are still clean and green. The one of Ryan Crooks might not have liked something he saw. He just went ahead and pulled out from in front of the 46. Maybe took a shot he didn't like or what right there. Not 100% sure. But this battle for the lead is getting ever and ever more intense.
Yeah, and I know the 96 not doing really any harm up here, but he is 14 laps down. And he is getting squirrely, so I'm keeping an eye on him, because I feel like at some point here he might not catch it, because you do know as well as I do, Pete, it's all on repetition. It's all on, getting through the corners. You do everything the same. If one thing's off, you can mess up, and one mess up here at the front when you're 14 laps down does not look good for the rest of the field.
Not at all. Front 3 right now, going 3 wide. Byron's going to go ahead and take it to the outside. The 2 all the way on the bottom. He's got a little bit of help. Each one of these 3 drivers really having to hold their line. 15 gets a little loose, touches the white and red line. It's going to fill the hole. Here comes the 75.
Tony Benfo going to pull up behind the 19, try to push the 19 back by the 16 and 2. These 3 have been holding a good line here so far. You're 1 inch from making a mistake there, as close as these trucks have to be to go through those corners 3 wide. And then some guys are using the apron. We've seen some guys dive way down on the apron and then have to come back in to the track. If the guy on the outside is not ready for that, it can cause a mistake as well.
Absolutely. The 19's really having to worry about that outside wall, especially coming through the tri-oval, because they are very, very sharp turns. You talked about it much earlier. The 16 kind of keeping him up there a little bit. Byron able to cut down just a little bit, only because the Deuce and the 16 were able to move on down track. But with all that going on, now that 3 wide is back for P number 3. You got the 96. Actually, I take that back. He's several laps down. The 16 in the middle. Stoney Benfield in that 75. He's going to line up right behind the 19 of Byron. Top 2 right now, nose to tail.
Yeah, they can't get away from each other. Look at Ryan Crooks coming again. He's gotten back up to the draft. He's on the back bumper of the 15 of Vincent Short. He's going to try to work his way back up to the front. But, Pete, the way the pack racing, it's entertaining for us up at the booth, but I gotta imagine those guys have to be sweating as much as they're paying attention. It's almost, in my opinion, worse than a Daytona and Talladega for the side-by-side action, because the runs come from all over the place and you have nowhere to go with them, and the track seems thinner than a Daytona.
Yeah, it is much thinner. I think it's almost by like 20-something feet or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. When they were redoing this track, because we're going to go back 3 wide for the lead, they were talking about what the shape of the track and how wide it was going to be and all that again. And they were losing feet in quite a few spots as they go back double wide for P number 2. The 2 now on the bottom side, 16 of Robert Barney. He's going to go ahead and lead. Byron Jones one more time, going to try to take it to the outside and take it back 3 wide.
Byron's getting very, very aggressive up here, trying to go to the outside. He's been working the outside. He's been doing it pretty much all race, other than when he was on the bottom for a little while. So he's used to being up here, but you've got to really, really depend on the guys that are behind you or underneath you, Pete. And I mean, the guys in this league, they're all very, very skilled drivers, so you don't have to worry about it as much. But I mean, everybody has to think about it. Like, do I have enough room? Does that guy have enough room? Am I okay to be 3 wide? Do I have enough room coming off the corners? Is that guy going to slide up the track because he gets tight? Or is somebody going to get loose underneath him? There's so many different things that run through your brain trying to figure out how to get around this track.
Yes, just saw the 27 of Gabe Ellison tag the wall for just a moment. There you can see the damage to his right side, right along with the 1 now trying to go around the outside. That right rear quarter panel completely crushed in on the tire, but no harm, no foul, didn't collect anybody, and we're staying green.
As much as iRacing keeps doing with the wreck packages and the damage packages and stuff, I kind of wish they would make this a little more realistic with the fender rubs and maybe even tire.
Yeah, where it
break.
actually cuts down a tire. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would be maybe something that would make people not drive so aggressive, especially in officials. You know, little bump here, a little tag there, and you might get a rub to where you're, you know, losing tread faster, or you know, you cut down a tire, or you cut a valve stem if you're too close and bump. There's so many different things that they could add into this, but it's hard to do it with the way the officials are stacked up a lot of times.
Yeah, it really is, and the officials, you know, well, iRacing in general, you know, they declare this sim as the most lifelike that you can get outside of NASCAR. Excuse me, and if you think about it, most of the pros that you see on the week in and week out NASCAR circuit are on here. I mean, Dale Jr., he's actually made it his way on up inside the ranks of iRacing to like vice president or something like that. He is such a big influence there. He's the one that got the whole ball rolling with North Wilkesboro, and here we are, you know, a year and a half later after they cleared up the place. They were just racing there last weekend for the All-Star race, which in my mind was an okay show, but probably not the best that it could have been.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of drivers that use the sims, whether it's at their factories or, you know, warehouses where they're building their cars and things like that. There's a lot of guys who do it at home. A lot of guys who have bought very expensive rigs for when we had COVID, and they all raced on iRacing as a, you know, part-time thing in between racing being shut down. There's guys who still use it on a weekly basis. But the surprise to me was, I don't know if you heard this during the All-Star race, but Kyle Larson does not like using the simulator. He does not like iRacing. Well, maybe for a couple reasons, because he got in trouble there. But P. Big Wreck 2 got into the 12 and touched the 16 there. They saved it. Wow.
Yeah. How about Robert Barn? All right, let's see if we can actually bring that back right quick. That was with the 16 and the 2, I think you said. So we'll go ahead and rewind it. And let's stop it. And let's switch on over. And we'll see if we can catch up with what is going on right now. You said the 16. Why am I... All right, so there it is, 16 in the middle. 2 comes on up, gives him a little bit of a shot to the door. 16 tags the outside wall, most able to go on by. But yeah, so a couple got some damage there, and that really just separated the field, Kurt.
Yeah, and there's a couple other things too. Byron made a pit stop, Pete. So
yep, on him now.
He is now 1 lap down, back in 12th. And we have 40 laps to go. I think the fuel mileage should be right around that. Obviously, we've gone 59 now. So he's within the window to make it to the end. He's the first one to come down pit road of the leaders, and he's going to be on fresh tires and fuel out here. The lap times are about 2 seconds slower than the original lap time, the best lap times that these guys were running. So if Byron can get out here and run 2 seconds faster lap times, and he was up at the front when he made this decision to come down pit road, as now more guys are coming down pit road. You know, P, on some of these tracks where there's a huge fall off, the first one to pit usually comes out with a lead.
Absolutely. That was Gabe Ellison and company going on down pit road to grab their brand new Eagle Feel Goods and fill it up with that Sunoco E15 fuel. But up at the front right now, normally we see support for the Shorts and Benfields of this IROC Challenge Series. Right now, Vincent Short in the lead. Stoney Benfield right now, the faster pastor, sitting P at number 2. And they're both going to go ahead and try to whoa it up and slow it up all the way down to, I believe it's about 45 miles per hour here, if I'm not mistaken, to pit road speed and bring it to the attention of their crew to, like you said, possibly be, get their service for the last time. Looks like when this is all said and done, Neil Quick, Brian McCann, Byron Jones, and Kevin McCann will come across to retake the top 4 spots.
Yeah, I mean, they're within the window for sure. They just ran 59, 60 laps there, so they are definitely within the window. Byron, I think, makes out the best because he was back in about 8th when he peeled off to pit, and he's going to come out 3rd after this thing shakes up. The thing I'm worried about for Neil Quick is he's got some damage on that right side for where he made contact with Robert Barney. Brian McCann obviously makes out for this as well, coming up and now into 2nd. Kevin McCann's going to have a good rebound, and so is Ryan Crooks. We're going to have a 5-car breakaway from the rest of the field people because they're all in line, and they've gone to the front.
I'll tell you what, you talk about Ryan Crooks, and you see him back there right now in P number 5 in that magenta and black truck. Well, the man just went to plaid, posting a time of 30.51, roughly 3/10 faster than anybody else had ran so far. So the man he spent a lot of time in the back this evening. Well, he's here when it matters, and you see Byron Jones right there sitting in P number 3. Those two wanted to hook up. Now's as good of a chance as any. Quite a bit left to go. Neil Quick, Brian McCann, Byron Jones, Kevin McCann, and Ryan Crooks all nose to tail coming across the start stripe right there. What's left on the lap counter, Kurt?
We've got 36 laps to go. One of the things I noticed here in the grouping of the 5 trucks up at the front, Kevin McCann's got some heavy damage to the left side of his truck. Ryan's trying to figure out a way to get him out of the groove, and does. McCann brothers both move up to the top. Ryan now moving up to the top. Going to move back down to the bottom to get behind Byron Jones and Neil Quick. Neil Quick's got that little bit of damage on the right side. So right now it's Brian McCann, Byron Jones, and Ryan Crooks who have the best looking cars, as the 46 of Chris Medford joins into this party as well. And I don't know where Medford came from, Pete, because he was a few seconds off of this pack, and all of a sudden now he's up here racing. And I think that has a lot to do with the side-by-side.
Yeah, I would imagine so. They're probably side drafting each other back just a little bit, and I believe they say in these trucks you could be about 3 seconds back. And he's got the 27 of Gabe Ellison with him as well. Maybe a little bit of pushing and shoving, able to work their way on back up. But you just saw the two go on up, try a little bit of side draft on the 33, then try to pull back down again, keeping the 19 right behind him, not forcing a 3-wide position side by side for the first 2 rows. Everybody behind him trying to figure out where they need to go. All right, so what do you say we jump on board with Chris Medford? If you've got a decent little surround sound system, actually we'll hold up. 3 wide. 3 wide for P2. Byron Jones in the middle. 33 up high, 2 down low. How is this going to play out? Who's going to give, or will it be all take?
Yeah, I think Byron and Ryan needed to get by the 2, because I think the 2, even though he doesn't have some heavy damage to the front of his truck, he's got some heavy damage to the right side of that truck from the contact with the 16, and he does have a slight bit of damage to the very front of that truck. Kevin McCann smacks the wall on the outside. That's going to slow up that outside line. Byron moves to the outside to get behind McCann now, but I think they needed to get around Neil Quick, because I think he was holding him up just a little bit. That truck could probably do good in the draft, but not be the lead car.
Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the right side of that Spartan Deuce. See what he's looking like right quick. As soon as I can get there. There we go. There's the right front. Yeah, all kinds of scraped up from the number up until about the wheel well. But you can see most of the stickers there on that truck are okay. As you see, the 3 go around the outside. And if we take a look at the right rear, about the same, but it looks like the rear wheel well is okay. And if we look at the rear fin, a little bit of a bend on the left hand side, but that's about it. As long as that 2 can stay in the draft, Kurt, I think you'll be all right.
Yeah, I think this is going to come down to Ryan and Byron, because McCann does not have a drafting partner really. Neil Quick's going to have to choose to run with Brian to try to make up time here, because Kevin has struggled with damage on the left side and right side. Looks like a can opener went down both sides of that truck. But unless one of the Medford or Ellison can get up here and try to help Neil Quick, I think this is going to come down to whether or not Ryan will stick with Byron, or if Ryan does get by Byron, if Byron will stick with Ryan. There's a lot of Ryans in that situation with the Byron and Ryan.
Well, I tell you what, every time they come through the trial, well, the 2 is just able to completely rock it off the bottom and really make up some time on the 19 and on the 1, on the 3. You see him dive below the apron, not that time, but each time that he's done it before that, he was able to pull right up alongside with the leaders again. No draft help now whatsoever, as it looks like we're at a plate track. All these guys up on the high side really just staying along the wall.
Yeah, with 28 laps to go, they're good to go on fuel. Tires is whatever they've got on is what they're going to probably have, unless we have a caution. You might see some guys come down and grab some tires and fuel, but Byron been up front a lot of the night. Ryan started in the back, pretty much hovered in the back most of the race, then decided at one point that, hey, I want to go to the front, and he came hard charging to the front. Brian McCann did kind of the same thing, hovered in the back with Ryan Crooks. He made a switch and said, nope, going to the front, and he came to the front. Kevin McCann started up on the front row. He's had damage on both sides of that truck, but it's still a truck that can drive in the draft because it's not really affecting the spoiler, and he doesn't have any damage on the front bumper of that truck.
Yeah, go ahead and show the right front of this 33 right now. And around the wheel well, okay. He's got a little bit more damage from the decals on back. As far as the right front goes, right rear, he's got quite a bit of damage. It's actually showing that all around the wheel well is very much bowed in. So he's another one that's got to try to keep it in the draft. And if we look from the front on back, you can see a little bit of an opening in the right front of his Spartan Transportation IROC Silverado. He definitely needs a little bit of help.
Yeah, that's where Brian is going to have to convince his brother to stick with him. But the rest of these guys, I mean, Brian, like we've been talking about, he's got just a hold on the lead. He's 300 and something points out in front of second place, which is Gabe Ellison, who's sitting right now in P7. What they really need to happen over these next 3 races is Brian to finish last, but that does not look like it's going to happen because I don't think Brian has finished outside of the top 10 other than maybe one time this season.
I'll tell you what, a little bit of separation now from P4 on back. Chris Mefford in the 46. He's got some help coming from the 27 of Gabe Ellison. 33 back there as well, but it really looks like the 33 loses just a little bit of time as he tries to go ahead and throw it low with the 2-7. 46 up high. 33 right now just really trying to stay in the draft. The top 4 continuing to pull away as they put that 23 one more lap down.
Yeah, and just to make sure Brian doesn't think I'm messing with him, he's actually finished in the top 10 in all 14 races this season.
There you go. So now on the bottom, the 1 is leading. 3 right now sitting P2. P2 sitting 3rd. Whoa.
23 drifting back there.
Little loose.
Saved it.
There you go. So Ryan Crooks right now, he is up 11 spots to P number 1 and continuing to lead. And they're coming across. Whoa, 16 came up track a little bit, collected Byron Jones. And this will bring out the caution. Oh.
That's going to be unfortunate for Byron.
Yeah, let's go back. See if this will work. Let's go ahead and stop that. Let's go ahead and rewind that.
He just hard right turned. I think the admins are going to have to take a look at that one.
All right, let's go ahead and take it from the chase. And actually, no, you say it took a hard right turn. Let's jump. Let's jump on board with the 2. Let's go ahead and play it out. Oh, I don't know. That was the 2 of them. Let's rewind that. I don't know. The 2's wheel looked pretty steady. Let's stop it. And let's go back to the chase.
Oh, it was a 16. Sorry, that's who it was.
Okay, 16. All right.
Yeah, 16 makes a hard right, especially if you're on rear chase or whatever. You can see the car just. He kind of makes a little bit of a jump to the right as they're coming out of the corner, and then just hard rights right into Byron's door.
All right, so with the 16 now, oh, he was trying to keep it down on the bottom. Let's go ahead and rewind that one more time. Looked like he was trying to keep it on the bottom, got little loose on that red and white line. Let's bring it on up, and we'll go to chase mode, and we'll play it out. You can see the left side tire is all the way down, and yeah, man, that could be called either way. The admins may definitely choose to take a look at that. Let's go ahead and bring it back live though. All right, so with all that happening, Brian McCann, it looks like he has chosen to stay out. Ryan Crooks right now will come back P number 2. Brandon Mefford 3rd, Vince Short 4th, and Gabe Ellison will be your top 5. Let's see if we can grab old Brian McCann up right quick. Mr. McCann, it is repeat and SWAT's up in the booth, but you got a copy in that number 3 IROC machine.
I do. How's it going?
All right, man. Well, I tell you what, that was a very, very long, amazing race. 2, 3 wide at times. Ryan Crook's going to start P2. Brandon Mefford will be 3rd. Vince Short will be 4th, and Gabe Ellison will be 5th. We are winding down in what is the last restrictor plate race, if you want to call it that, of the season. Next week we go to the Roval, then we go to Kentucky, and then we wrap up season 6 at Michigan International Raceway. Can you keep that Silverado up front and with all the fenders on it, sir?
I doubt it. It's really easy to get around somebody, especially if you got help. And you know, it's anybody's shot for the win here. It's like Daytona or Talladega. But in that wreck there over the radio, I heard a lot of trucks got damaged. So
yeah,
it may just be a small pack of us.
Yeah, the 16 at first looked like it was a little loose on the red and white line on the bottom, and then all of a sudden it was just a sharp right turn. Where it was you and 3 others kind of battling it out for the lead amongst yourselves. So the admins might have to go back and take a look at that a little bit later on. But I see the lights atop the pace car are out. I'll get you back down with your brother, Kevin. Good luck, sir. Keep the shiny side up, and who knows, maybe we'll be talking to you again for another podium.
Thanks.
You got it. All right, so we got driver 3 back down into race room 3 with his brother. He's got the 83 behind him, and then the 27 of Gabe Ellison, the 1 of Ryan Crooks, and then the 15 of Vincent Short to the outside. Kurt, who's the comers and goers here?
I think it's going to come down to Ellison, Crooks, and McCann. Medford might have a shot. 15 might have a shot as well. But, I mean, Brian and Ryan, they've floated in the back for the longest time, and, like I said, flipped the switch and said, going to the front, and now they're both in the front row.
All right, front row's on the throttle. We're going back green. Let's go.
And one thing I wanted to say, too, I rechecked that replay about 19 times here while we were sitting here, and I think the 16 was aiming for the 2. If you remember earlier, there was a little incident between the 2 and the 16 where the 16 got put in the wall, and then he's been off pace ever since. But yeah, he definitely right turned and clipped the left rear of the two. And unfortunately for Byron, he's going to be an innocent bystander in what might have been a little bit of a payback move.
Byron Jones right now sitting P number 12, and very, very unfortunate for the guy. We got a battle for the lead yet again. 3 on the bottom, 83, way up high. That's going to be Brandon Medford. We've got Stony Benfield right now in P number 7, back on the bottom side. Some guys got fresh rubber, some guys got the older stuff. But right now, the bottom side looks like it's going to prevail. Not quite sure if the damage is up top with the 27, but the 3 right now, he just got shuffled back to P4.
Yeah, Brian's still on old tires. He's on 26-lap old tires. The other 3, Brandon Medford, Ryan Crooks, Gabriel Ellison, Vincent Short, Sonny Benfield, Neil Quick, Kevin McCann, Chris Medford, they all came for tires. Brian, for some reason, did not come down pit road.
Well, he could have just said it's about time for elbows up. Cautions breed cautions. Did not want to be in the back amongst the oldest tires. But right now, the one of Ryan Crooks really just shoving that 83 to the front. Then he's going to go ahead and pick up the 27 of Gabe Ellison on the outside. And we'll have to see. We saw where the high side really came into play earlier. Could that be where Ryan needs to be now? Gabe Ellison was trusted earlier by Byron Jones. So he's got a good following. Plus, he's good in the points, so he's not he's not sitting good in the season standings for no reason. The guy flat knows how to race.
Yeah, Brian has probably some of the most highly skilled driving skills in the league, with a handful of others as far as the top tier guys, but. I don't know how Brian gets through some of these tracks with as much luck as he apparently has, because he was about 10 feet from being the one that got clipped instead of Neil, but somehow wasn't the one. So, but I think that was probably a mistake on his part for not taking tires for coming down pit road. He's now at the back of this pack and has lost the lead to Ryan, who's on fresh tires. So unless the caution comes out in the next couple laps, which there's only about, 9 guys on the lead lap, 9 guys in the pack, and he's at the back of it.
Oh, Gabe Ellison, he's going to try the bottom side underneath the one of Ryan Crooks. Brandon Medford right there, so is Neil Quick in that deuce. So how about the two? If he was a target there, able to proceed on, still sitting inside the top 5. Got Vincent Short, Stony Benfield right there. They're 3 wide for P3. 3 wide right for the lead.
3 wide with the lead.
Contact.
It's into the wreck. And it's going to be Ryan Crooks and Gabe Ellison getting put up into the wall.
2 of the fastest guys that waited. Well, I can't say waited because the 27 was up there earlier, but that one very, very tore up right now. Ugh, hate it. Looking at the damage all the way around this one, no bueno whatsoever. Just completely crushed in, and unfortunately these trucks, they're not like the next gen cars, definitely not built like tanks. These things, you would imagine that, you think truck, you think tough, whatever. Yeah, these things, you put them up in a wall, you're losing time. So very, very unfortunate for the one. But Kurt, what do you think? Last caution or no?
No, I don't think it's the last caution, but the unfortunate factor, another negative towards this track beat, is the bottom guy caused that incident. The 2 guys who came away with the most damage are the 2 guys on the outside. The bottom guy drove away without any problems and is still in the lead. Most of the incidents we've seen tonight, the bottom guy is the one that comes up the track, gets into the top guy. Top guy goes directly into the wall because that's the way the track is designed with the banking. It just shoots you into the wall if you have contact. Every person we've seen tonight have contact has come from the bottom lane up into the top lane. So it's something they can't do anything about. Obviously, they designed the track the way they designed it, but it's unfortunate for those guys. The second and third line, they were running their line. They didn't move. They didn't, drop down. They didn't get loose. They didn't get tight. They were running their line. And Medford came up the track and got into the 27 there and put him right into the wall with the number 1.
Well, speaking of Medford, just bring the 83 of Brandon on up, and he's got the 15 of Vincent Short, Neil Quick, Stoney Benfield, and Kevin McCann now as the top 5. Brandon, can you keep these guys behind you? We still see the lights atop the pace car are on. This pack is getting whittled down due to a couple of back-to-back cautions and a lot of damage among all of these Silverados out on track, sir.
Yeah, that incident there was unfortunate. I got down on touch the apron because I think they said they were telling me we were 3 wide, so I was trying to stay low, and I think me and Gabriel came together and it shot him up the track. So I want to apologize to him, but I don't know, dude. It's the bottom line's easier to run, but the high side's where the runs are coming. So I don't know how we're gonna. I don't know where we're gonna go. This is gonna be fun here towards these last 5 or 10 laps.
Well, I'm sure the lights atop the pace car are about to go out. And yeah, if you think about officials, or just if you've ran any races at Daytona or Talladega in the trucks, the Cup, or the Xfinity cars, that high side has just been very, very dominant in any series or any league, club, or community that I've broadcasted for, that Kurt has broadcasted for. It just really seems like in the long run, the high side is where you want to be. You're going to have the 15 of Vincent Short restarting on your outside. We'll get you back on down with your team comms. Good luck. Keep the shiny side up, and maybe we'll be talking to you for a podium here in just a little bit, sir.
Yeah, we can only hope. Thanks, guys.
You got it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get him back down with Chris Quick, Chris Wally, Mefford, and Neil right now. So he's back. Kurt, do you think he can hold the rest of this group back?
It's so hard to tell, Pete, because there's so many runs. Like he was saying, they always come so quickly. It's hard to judge. It's like iRacing Super Speedway at max speed. I think originally it was like 225 or something in the Cup cars, or 230 in the Cup cars, and you couldn't judge how far somebody was back and how they were coming, because within a split second they were door to door with you. So I don't know if he can block. This track is not really good for blocking anymore. It could come down to a door check and clearing the track and coming around to the finish line. I don't know.
It's going to be interesting either way that it works out. Barney's got the green flag up. He sees the field addressing the line. Pace cars down pit road.
Green flag.
Green flag. Will this be the last one? Let's go. They are 3 wide already for P number 2. You see the 33 of Brian McCann on the bottom. There's Neil Quick in the deuce on the bottom also. 15 getting shuffled back. How about Kevin McCann working his way back on up?
Yeah, I don't know how his truck is able to get up to the front.
15's getting spun. Yeah, 15 just...
was Neil Quick and 15 of Vincent Short.
Yep. So cautions breed cautions. Let's go back with Vincent Short, find out what happened. Let's go ahead and switch it on over to our handy-dandy chase cam and play it out. 2 on the bottom, hugging that red line, comes up just a little bit, catches the 15, and then trouble ensues a little bit later on. Let's go back from Neil Quick's side. Well, let's go ahead and rewind that. It's already far in the way. All right, stop it. Let's go ahead and play it again. So the 2's going to travel up. You see him get closer and closer to that white line. That sends the 15 around, and then the 16 gets into the back of the deuce, sends Neil up to the wall, and then the 96, luckily, kind of lagged his way on through the 2, and everybody else able to get on by on the high side. How about from Robert Barney? So let's Robert Barney is at 16. Let's go ahead and rewind that.
Yeah, that's going to be a look. I think the admin for sure needs to look at the 16.
All right, let's go ahead and come on up to the nose, and let's play that out. Oh, no lift.
Yeah, if that's not McDowell from the All-Star race, I don't know what that is, because that looks like intentional number 2.
All right,
in my book.
All right, let's go ahead and bring it back live. All right, so Brandon Mefford, we spoke with him before. What about Kevin McCann? Let's see if we can't pull Kevin on up and have a quick word with driver 33. What's that?
I said Mr. Duct Tape himself.
Yeah. So, Kevin, we saw you get into the wall earlier. You had a little bit of damage on the right side. Looked like the nose was kind of crippled up just a little bit on the right side as well. The rear wicker doesn't look all that bad now. So you're going to restart on the outside. It looks like Stoney Benfield's got a little bit of damage as well. He's going to start P3. Chris Mefford in the 46, who's been shown speed all season long as well. And then the 23 of Cook Quick will be the top 5. Can you keep that battered and bruised Silverado up front with just a limited amount of laps left?
Well, my chances are getting better every lap here. It seems like more cars are getting damaged. So I think everybody's got a little wrinkle on them now. So we'll have to see.
Man, you're reaching out and duct taping that truck as much as possible. You got to be at the end of it.
You know, I got everything repaired, and they told me I was good to go, but I still see some wrinkles up there, so I'm not too sure the guys did too good of a job.
You must be paying the pit crew with milk and Oreos, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Lollipops.
All right, Kevin, we'll get you back on down with your brother. Good luck. Keep what was the shiny side up, and maybe we'll be talking to you again a little bit later on.
All right, thanks.
You got it, buddy. All right, so he's back on down with big brother Brian. Brian was actually part of that wreck. Kind of got collected as the 2 was up into the wall. Or it might have been up with the 16 when the 16 was up into the wall. So very unfortunate for him as well. But Brian's got all kinds of points in the bank. He's going to restart on the high side outside the 15 and the 23. Shouldn't really see too much of an issue in the back. Although, Kurt, anytime we see any kind of a problem, damage or the trucks always go up track rather than down, kind of like what we would see at Dover, where they say it's a self-cleaning track. But we're about ready to fire this off again.
Yeah, and if Harry Hogg was sitting here talking to the Buck, he'd be telling him, look at that, the only side we don't have to fix is the top of the truck for Kevin McCann, because it's about the roof and the truck bed is the only thing that's not dented or scratched.
All right, green flag's out. Kurt, what we got for laps, and let's go.
We've got 4 to go now with Brandon Medford, up at the front. Kevin McCann trying to work on the outside. Stoney Benfield is in contention here, Pete. He's on the bottom side with a little bit of damage on the left side of that truck. You can see the scrape down his number at 75, where it's a little faded there. He's got the push to the 23. Big push coming from brother of Brandon McCann, Medford. Chris Medford pushing the 33 with all that damage, Pete, right to the front.
Yeah, now the 33, we'll go ahead and we'll take a look. We'll take a look at this machine one more time, and you can still see that little bit of an issue with the crease down on that line. Probably had to hold on a little bit, maybe even burp the throttle, and he's going to drop back to about P7 in a matter of a couple corners. Brandon Medford right now in that 83, continuing to lead. The faster passer right now, P2 on the bottom side, 46 up high, 23 with him. 83 is going to go ahead and lead this lap. I believe next time by is the white flag, yeah?
2 to go now. So Stoney Medford 3 wide up here, getting in the middle of the lane. Going to be between the 2 Medford brothers. Can he hold it? No, he touches the 46. 46 is going around in turn 1.
46 around, 75 able to hold it. We're going to have a green-white checker.
And he's going to start on the outside of that green-white checker. Stoney's got a chance here. Go Stoney.
All right, so we'll actually go ahead. Since we already talked to Brandon Medford a little bit ago, we'll go ahead and pull Stoney Benfield in just a moment. You gotta imagine that driver 75 might be counting a few Hail Marys and crossing himself over and over again. He wants this W. Man, oh man. Guy's been kind of hanging out all race long, and when push comes to shove, the faster passer has a very real chance at grabbing this W. Let's actually go on up to Brandon Medford's car and take a look back and see what his front end is looking like. If I can right quick. There we go. So it looks like he's got a little bit of separation in the front right of his hood. And if we look at Stoney Benfield, he's got an issue with the left front. So what would you think would be worse, Kurt? The left front or the right front?
I Probably the left front, I would think. Right front, I don't know. These trucks are it's touchy on which side is which, but most of the time, a lot of your air comes down that right side, so be able to turn the truck. So if you have damage on the right side, it usually is worse than on the left side. But when it comes to front bumper, I think either side probably doesn't really matter. But Benfield's going to probably start on the outside unless Medford chooses the outside. If he chooses the outside, I think that works out better for Stoney being on the bottom. But
unfortunately, it's all a moot point, sir. It looks like the 75 got an EOL for causing that wreck.
Yeah.
Yep, and he is he's now a little bit further in the back, back in about excuse me, sitting about P number 6. So once they all rack and stack back up, he'll be once they all rack and stack back up, he will be P number 6. So
he's still got a shot.
Yep, Gabe Ellison right now sitting in P number 2. The lights atop the pace car are on still. Let's see if we can find Gabe Ellison right quick. I don't believe he's normally available, but I'm just gonna double check anyway. Nope, I don't see him. So how about Vincent Short? He's down there with Stoney. What do you say we go ahead and pull Vince on up right quick? Vince, you're going to be restarting P3, P4 right now. Either way, the second row in that number 15. Of course, you always have a little bit of support out there in the YouTube chat. What are you willing to do to put that 15 in victory lane?
Just about everything. Just take what they give me, man. I'll watch the front two, see what they do, and do the opposite.
Hey, there you go. Kind of getting back to your truck right now. I really don't see too many issues whatsoever on that 15. You're going to have the 33 to your outside. Definitely wish you a whole lot of luck. See you getting back, rack and stack back up. So I'll go ahead and I will get you back on down. You were with David Trumbley, right?
I usually hang with Stoney.
There, okay, yeah, I see him now. Okay, a little bit of an issue there. Okay, yeah, I'll get you back down with Stoney Benfield right now, and by all means, wish him luck.
Thanks, sir.
You got it. Sorry, Kurt, didn't mean to cut you off.
Truck out there.
Yeah, I would probably tend to agree with you. But yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I saw that we were going back double file.
I was just laughing because you were looking at the truck as being clean. I'm like, let me look at the 83. Damage, 27 damage, 3 damage, 23 damage, 96 damage. I'm like, he might be the only truck out there without damage.
Hey, who knows? Maybe it'll be a blessing in disguise. So, all right. So again, green flag is up. Green, white checker. So taking the green, next time by will be the white flag, and then the checkered flag will fly. I believe they have unlimited attempts. I could be wrong, but let's go racing, Kurt.
All right, 83 going to the restart zone, getting on the gas pedal first, goes across start finish line, gets the jump. 27 going to hang with him. That's our pole sitter for this race. Whoever started on the outside row, that was the 33. So our two front runners are right here again in second and third to start this last restart. Hopefully, 83 with a great run down the backstretch, being pushed by the 27. You see the separation building because of that.
Absolutely, and you see the high side right now, 33 and the 3, the McCann brothers trying to get those Silverados up and running. It's just that 33 has too much damage. Gabe Ellison, he's going to go ahead and disappear from the rear view of that 83. He wants a little support side by side for P2. 15 that was able to work his way on back up. Will this be a rope-a-dope? Will he go high, go low? Where's he going to go? What's the 83 going to do to block it? They got a car or a 6 or 7 pack all behind him. 83 a little loose, 15 shoving, 15 looking low. He's not going to be able to get their last-ditch attempt coming through the tri-oval. Who's it going to be?
I think it's the 83. Yeah, Vincent Short going to come home P2 just a 10th off.
Yep. So 83 is going to go ahead and grab the W. Vince Short with a huge attempt there at the line. Cook quick in the 23 is going to come across P3. Stoney Benfield, the faster pastor. He's going to bring it home P4 right where he started. Gabe Ellison 5th. Brian McCann 6th. Kevin McCann 7th. Chris Mefford in 8th. Neil Quick and Robert Barney going to round out your top 10. So, yeah, the one, it's all him. Go ahead and burn it down, Brandon. You've earned this.
Oh. It was a clean truck.
Hey, if you're going to damage it anywhere, do it while doing donuts.
Well, the 15 decided to get a little rub down the left side of the truck before they came to the finish line.
All right, 83 is going to allow it to roll just a little bit back to the start stripe and go ahead and shut it down. All right, ladies and gents, we will be right back with Cook Quick, Vince Short, and Brandon Mefford as your top 3. Please don't nobody go anywhere. It should be a very interesting, to say the least, recap. We'll be right back. All right, ladies and gents, we are back. Unfortunately, Cook Quick in the 23, who finished P3 up 8 spots from where he qualified, unable to be brought into the booth. So, unfortunately, we'll move on up to P2. We talked to Vince Short just before we went back with that green-white checker, restarted 6th, Vince, able to work your way on back up. You had made one hell of an attempt at the W, coming through the tri-oval into the line, but just short. One hell of a race for you and this 15 team, sir.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I couldn't have picked a better type of race or person to race against, man. Brandon's a fellow Hoosier, so I'm always going to support him. We always have fun with him and Chris as well. I couldn't be happier for him, and just glad to get a podium finally.
Yeah, I mean, we've watched you, week in and week out. We're getting closer and closer to the end of this season. We're going to the Roval next week, followed by Kentucky, and then wrapping up season 6 at Michigan International Raceway. Are you a bit of a road race connoisseur, or is that a track of contention where you might have to burn a few extra laps?
Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and put the training wheels on now.
Put the bumpers on.
I don't hate it. It's just something I don't have a lot of time to put into. If I had the time, I actually enjoy them quite a bit, but I'm just going to try to survive it.
Kurt?
Yeah, Vince, we seen a lot of different back and forth tonight. There was a lot of carnage all over the place. Guys dropping like flies after some incidents there, but you're able to make up to the front. We saw you get there. Did you think about coming down and maybe giving a little bit of a door, even though he's a fellow Hoosier? You guys battling for the win there?
No, not at all. Just regular raceman craft and try to split the outside. I knew he was going to take the low side and keep it low and make me go high to go the longer distance. I just flared out way too much, which is probably that .017 that I lost. If I'd have just tucked on his right side, I probably would have been all right.
Well, the side draft might have definitely brought him back for the win, but I mean, it's hindsight, obviously. But coming home P2, you got to be happy about that. I think that's your best finish this season. So Atlanta, I'm not a big fan of it, but I would say you're a fan of it coming home P2 tonight.
Not necessarily. I actually like the old style. I like to slide it in there and have a little tire control, tire management.
I think that's probably our age.
Yeah. My big thing going in, I told Stoney going in, this is a fuel mileage race, and I was only going 3/4 throttle for probably 3/4 of the race. So, I was trying to get outside the pit cycle of the other guys. I think on that last cycle, I told Stoney we probably should have went in the lap after the first set of people, but we ended up staying 2 laps out. I wanted to at least make sure I had a lap led. And then fortunately we got a yellow there to got us back up to the group, and then I was actually trying to push Brandon up there to get us back up into the pack, and luckily we got a yellow, and then luck for him, he got the win.
Well, buddy, another great race. Glad to see you. Glad to be able to actually talk to you. Any quick friends, family, sponsors you need to get out there, sir?
First and foremost, my wife. She supports me and everything I do with iRacing. She supports all my iRacing leagues. She's been there when I first raced with IROC at the beginning, and then some of my other leagues. My wife, my stepson Jake, my kids Dylan, Ashley, Rayleigh, Shelby, and then my grandkids Kira, Raylan, and Amari. Love you guys all. Appreciate everybody watch out there. Hopefully we can at some point before the end of the season get a win there.
All right, buddy. We got 3 more chances before we actually turn it over for season 7, and we'll be talking about that here in the broadcast in just a moment or two. We'll share some information, or a couple of flyers that were put out for season 7 that starts in middle of July. So congratulations one more time, Vince.
Thanks, guys. I also wanted to thank Chris Wally for putting the league on, and the rest of the guys that I've raced with prior to this season. Everybody in the league. It's been a fun season, and thank you guys for the broadcast. Have a good night.
You as well, sir. All right, Kurt, we're gonna bring on up Mr. Medford. That 83 truck definitely held off all comers in the end. Had to put it through its paces in a couple of restarts, including that green-white checker, and he's with you.
Yeah, Brandon, you definitely you held him off. You kind of went back and forth on which line you were running there. Vincent come off turn 4. He said he didn't have any thought of coming to your door or nothing like that. Said he might have misjudged that front stretch of going too wide from you as you went really low through that front stretch. But I got to ask, how did you avoid all the carnage tonight? Because your truck comes home as the cleanest truck out there.
Well, I just seen, kind of like Super Speedway, these guys were up there racing, and, we were having a lot of fun in our chat, but, they were beating and banging, so I just went to the tail and decided I was going to hang out back there and take what I could get.
It was definitely fun to watch. I definitely enjoyed watching you guys passing back and forth and things like that. How hectic is it out there on track, and how intense is it inside the cockpit with you guys being able to make passes left and right? And even if a guy passes you through one corner, with the draft and the way that the runs happen, you could essentially pass him the next corner.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, really. I mean, you get such big runs down the straightaways. These trucks really suck up here, and so a guy could get by you, and you could have somebody push you side draft and get back by him. And, really, I thought the high line tonight was probably the faster line, but there for a couple laps, if that guy didn't have a couple guys on the high side, it was a little slow. So it's really crazy. You didn't, from my point, you didn't want to push it 3 wide because the track's too narrow. Some of those guys made it work, but it's this racetrack is I don't like it. I'd rather go back to old Atlanta, but I mean it produces some close, tight racing. I will give them that.
I was actually going to ask you whether you prefer the new Atlanta or old. I was actually hoping it was going to be the old Atlanta myself. But man, one hell of a race. Able to, like I said before I brought Kurt in, really hold everybody off, holding off the different lines, whether you needed to go high or low. How much mirror driving were you actually doing those last 5 to 10 laps?
I was looking in my mirror more than I was forward, so. On them restarts, you don't want to get out too far ahead, just like a super speedway, or they'll come blowing by you. And I started on the high side that last time. I saw Kevin didn't have any help. Everybody moved down, so I knew I had to go to the bottom and then just hold on. So, and just like I said, those runs are going to let somebody get to you. You just got to hope that when you start finish line, that you're ahead of everybody.
3 more races left here in Season 6. We're going Roval racing next week for the final road course race of the season, followed by Kentucky and then Michigan International Raceway to crown the Season 6 champ. Where do you think is your next best chance to grab one more W before it's all over and done with this season?
I don't know. Definitely not the Roval. I'm going to be battling for 10th place there. Not a real good oval or a Roval racer or a road course racer, whatever you want to call it. But I don't know. A lot of tough guys in this league. Everybody's good in the next 3 tracks. So I'm going to shoot for some top 5s and try to get out of this season, as far up in points as we can and get ready for next season.
Well, like Kurt said, your truck probably looks the cleanest of all the bruised and battered trucks that did battle here tonight in the new Atlanta. Any quick friends, family, sponsors you need to get out there, sir?
Yeah, I want to, before we get into that, I wanted to apologize to Gabriel. I missed turn 1 there, and he was pinching me down. We were 3 wide. And I think I caused him to wreck. I don't know how bad his truck was there at the end, but I wanted to apologize to him. I probably didn't deserve this win, but that was really the only contact I made all night. So that's why my truck's a lot cleaner than everybody else's. But moving on, I'd like to thank you guys for the broadcast. I thank Chris Wally and everybody over at IROC, all the sponsors, Neil and all those guys, for putting this deal on. I've learned a lot from these guys in here. They're making me a better driver every time we get on the racetrack. So I want to thank all the drivers too. Thank my family back at home. Thank my Charity Motorsports teammates. And then shout out to my charities, Zoe's Place, Ellie's Place, Kidstock, Lucky Finn, and Race for Riley. So I'd like to race for those guys and give them a shout out.
There you go. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Of course, we do have to add in R&R Racewear. Excuse me one moment. Apologize one more time. Definitely have to add in R&R Racewear as a season sponsor here with the IROC series. Of course, the Hot Dog Stand podcast on IROC TV through your favorite Roku device. If you haven't already, go on over to your Roku device, look for the streaming section, and then search for IROC TV. It's the graphic that you see in the bottom left-hand side of your screen. It is a 100% free channel to get your iRacing fix anytime, 24/7. And the Hot Dog Stand podcast is available on there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in beautiful 4K viewing. And they've got they talk about all the great topics surrounding NASCAR, bring on past drivers, and really try to keep it as lighthearted as possible. Absolutely great podcast to go back and watch. And of course, by Spartan Transportation LLC, one hell of a great carrier. Go on over, look them up on the net. If you need anything carried from Missouri all the way over to the Carolinas, look them up. Spartan Transportation LLC. You can't get any better. And then, of course, I mentioned it a little bit ago that we were going to talk about season number 7 that's coming up in just now. there's 3 weeks left in season 6. Here is the detail for season 7. Starting on July 17th, it will be fixed setups, and it will be in the Gen 4 Cup cars, and of course broadcasted by HBR TV. I'll be hanging up the mic here with the Challenge Series, but I watched a race that they broadcast the other night where Brian McCann went to Victory Lane at Martinsville, and they do one hell of a job, I am here to tell you. So make sure you look them up, HBR TV on YouTube. Subscribe, make sure you leave notifications on so you know when they go live. It's going to be one hell of a season, but between now and then, we got 3 more weeks. I mentioned it before, Kurt. We have the Charlotte Roval next week, followed by Kentucky, and then again, we're going to crown a champion at Michigan International Raceway 3 weeks from tonight. Kurt, one hell of a race here at Atlanta.
Oh, it's absolutely one great race tonight. A lot of action, a lot of carnage. Next week's race at Roval, I think it'll be a typical 3 or 4 car, showing skill, and a lot of other guys just kind of rolling or struggling. But anybody could come away with some extra points that they need to be able to get into those payout spots. It's what everybody's fighting for, since Brian pretty much has the #1 spot on lock. Everybody's kind of just fighting from second on down for the payouts. Any one of those points could help you get into an extra payout for an extra chunk of change at the end of the season. So I would not necessarily say, even though, the guys who think they're going to be at the back, will quit out or run a couple laps and then quit out. Don't do that. Just roll. Just, keep it in a high gear and just log laps. You never know what could happen with guys that could spin off course, wreck their truck, just like tonight. Anything can happen. Those points might matter at the end of the season to get that extra payout.
There you go. All right, so everybody, we will be back again next week, again from Charlotte for the Roval. It's going to be a great race. I believe it's going to be 44 laps, right around there. We'll know more come race time. But again, big thank you to everybody that came out, hung out, chatted up, kept me and Kurt company all night long, whether it was on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, or IROC TV through your favorite Roku device. Thank you, and we'll see y'all again soon. Have a great night.